Desoto Economic Council. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jim Flanagan.
Thanks for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to meet with you. I wish I could tell you I was delivering some new homes to you today, some inventory, but I can't. We can deliver industry, but I wish I could deliver some homes to you. I wish this screen could show. This is our new logo, but it is a great looking blue and gray logo. It's we think it's very sophisticated looking, and so we think it's a new look for our organization. So let me begin. This is, can you hear me okay if I stand out here? This is the year in review. This is 2020, year of COVID. Who would have thought that we would have had a record year? Somehow in the translation from PDF to PowerPoint, it got a little wonky, so I'll read it with that. The year in review, 2,900 new jobs created, 15 new industries, 9 expansions, $590 million in new capital investment within industry. Now, this does not track retail or commercial. This is strictly industrial growth. The names along the bottom, that's Amazon. Then, of course, I think you can put another O in Google. The next is Associated Wholesale Grocers, the monster of a building just south of here. I'm sure you've seen that. That will be a building that will be a landmark in the Southeast. It will be the most fully automated grocery distribution center just about in the nation. It will have robotics featured there that will bring customers and clients from all over the world to see how you can pick up strawberries and also pick up freezer goods. It's not going to necessarily reduce the workforce because you've got to find a way to make sure these machines and robots, continue to function. But it is an outstanding project for the county, the largest capital investment in DeSoto County's history. And if you know anything about Associated Wholesale Grocers, they're already located in South Haven in that older park on off of State Line Road. They had looked to move to another area. They knew that they needed to modernize and update, and so they continue to remain in DeSoto County. So we're quite pleased to keep them here. Material Bank. This is an interesting company. If you're an interior decorator, an architect, a builder, you're working with your client, and you want to show your client the portfolio of everything from tile to wallpaper to paint, anything that has to do with the interior of a home. They contact Material Bank because they house every sample of every piece of carpet, of every tile, of every paint color, of every wallpaper. And they will put the portfolio together and overnight that out to the architect, to the interior decorator to meet with the client. Incredible company. And they are going to be employing robotics. It's called AutoStore. So you're going to see them begin to operate there in the Olive Branch area.
Where in Olive Branch?
They're going to be in what's called the I-22 Industrial Park at Kraft and LeVar, or Kraft and 78, where those big buildings are. That's where they're going to be located. Now, I'm not sure what number 2 is there, and then Ryder Logistics, but this is a sampling of the 15 companies and expansions that we enjoyed here in DeSoto County in 2020, and who would have thought it in the year of COVID? But one of the reasons for that is, and this won't surprise any of you, because none of you probably purchase online. But needless to say, that was off the charts last year, you can imagine. And because of that, we now are home to 2 Amazon facilities. Sephora, a beauty products company that some of you may be familiar with. they could not get enough product out the door, Williamson only. It just goes on and on and on. But these consumer goods were really stretched last year due to online sales. So this e-commerce component in DeSoto County is extremely important. Well, we've seen this slide before, but I'll go over it with you one more time. Most of you know why DeSoto County, why are they located here? Well, obviously, home to 3 interstates, FedEx Super Hub, 5 Class 1 railroads. This is the only area besides Chicago in the nation that can claim 5 Class 1 railroads. Pro-business elected officials, the ease of doing business here. No property tax increases for 16 years. I dare say you can find another metropolitan county, and we are a metropolitan county, even though we're a little rural sometimes, but you will not find another suburban county that can make that boast. It's because our elected officials and planners and those in leadership positions ensured from the very beginning, from the mid-1950s, that they would never allow our growth to outstrip our infrastructure. So we really pay as you go. And so that's important to remember here in DeSoto County, because that does set us apart. Still averaging about 3.5 families a day moving in. And we've got active human resource associations throughout DeSoto County that is really assisting these companies in finding the labor and the talent. And if you think you're having difficulty finding houses to sell, knock on any of these doors. They cannot find the talent or skills or the labor to satisfy the positions. They're with one particular temp agency that we spoke to about a week ago. They have 500 slots that they need to fill right now that they can't. But companies continue to come. Our draw obviously is a much larger labor shed than just DeSoto County. We're working with 25 active industrial prospects right now, and I'm pleased to report that over 1/3 of these are manufacturers. You know, we are a distribution and logistics hub. We will always be that. There are no apologies to be made there, because these warehouses you see are much more than a few people and a forklift. They're highly automated, highly technologically controlled, and paying higher wages, but manufacturers pay even higher wages. So we're pleased to say that the economy is becoming more and more diversified, which is important for you. It strengthens the economy. 15 active expansion projects. This is important because these are who brought us to the dance. And you want to dance with them. You want to make sure that they're profitable and they're productive here. And so we're pleased to report that we're working with 15 companies looking at expansions within DeSoto County. This is starting today. There is 9 million square feet of speculative industrial space built, under construction, or planned. Now you may think, whoa, wait a minute, is this taking us back to a housing surplus again, or to an industrial surplus? I can tell you, in 18 months, this will be absorbed. But 9 million square feet in preparation for the companies that are looking here. These are multinational investors. They know where to place their dollars, and they're placing them here in DeSoto County. Now, granted, there is speculative space being constructed in Marshall County, not to this degree, and there's a little spec space being constructed in Memphis now. But Memphis went for 12 years without any spec space being constructed. But this just gives you somewhat of a sampling of some of the places, 900,000 square feet, 815,000 square feet. This is the Exeter development. This is one of our newest parts, if you will. This is the one just north of here on 51, on the west side, next to Memphis Stone and Gravel. This is essentially just right past Starlanding Road, past the mobile home park, right here on the left. They're going to be building 2 buildings, a 900,000 square foot building and a 400,000 square foot building. And remember, folks, these are speculative. These aren't for tenants. Now, granted, they know that there's activity out there. They're beginning to see a lot of foot traffic, but these are built for sale. State Line West, another big building, 810,000 square feet. And what the beauty of this building is, it's built in an area that is an aged and older industrial area, right there across the railroad on State Line Road, west of 51. And this is 810,000 square feet. This is built by Diversified Realty Group out of Nashville. And they built building on airways, and they're looking at other properties throughout DeSoto County for additional investments.
Is that across from United? Is that across from United where they had their facility? Or is it in front of it?
Terex and Associated Wholesale Grocers, that area
Uh-huh.
right there.
Is it in front of it or across the street?
It is on the north side of State Line Road.
Okay. Across the street.
Yeah, across the street. This is really our newest and largest park, multiple buildings. This is Olive Branch Logistics Center. This is all the dirt you're seeing moved and construction going on just west of the soccer fields at Church and 305. So you've seen this, that's what this is. That's what this will look like. Now, FedEx Ground is this, obviously just to the right there. But Nail Road will be extended, and there are two buildings that are under construction. One has been leased, and I know I can't tell you the identity of that company, but it'll be one that we talked about a little earlier. So I'll let you connect the dots. Now, it used to be, well, with you, it's still location, 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 right? I mean, it's always been the real estate adage. Well, and that's the way it was with us too, until it became workforce, workforce, workforce. You can have locations all day long, but if you can't fill the slots, it's just not going to work. And so when I show you all this spec space, it sounds like that I am maybe saying just the opposite when I tell you that we've got some workforce shortages here. These companies are going to fill their slots. There's no doubt about it. But it's a challenge. It is an extreme challenge. So workforce is probably the premier area of opportunity that we see in DeSoto County right now. We are hosting now countywide HR associations in the Olive Branch area and in the South Haven area. South Haven picks up Horn Lake and Gwinnett. This is where the HR managers of all of our companies come together. They've been doing it remotely over the past year. They come together and they talk about best practices. The last thing these individuals want around the table is for someone to jump ship across the street to Williams-Sonoma for another quarter an hour. It doesn't do them good. It really doesn't do Williams-Sonoma good. So they meet together, exchange good ideas, best practices, and talk about absenteeism and turnover and other things that are of concern to them. This is important because it creates, I think, transparency and communication within our industry because we're all in this together. So they meet on a monthly basis. We are also doing some unique things. Again, we're having to not just step out of the box, leap out of the box when it comes to looking for talent and employees around the county. Do we need to tell you Sign Up Genius? We do at our church with services and things like that. Well, the same thing, we thought, well, why wouldn't this work maybe for some of these opportunities? Mid-South Food Bank yesterday, once a month, has their food that they deliver to residents to the area at the Ranger Center. So we're thinking, okay, there are families that are there, families that could very well maybe have a need for a job or maybe have a family member that has a need for a job. Well, we give our industries the opportunity to go there, to meet there, to have flyers for them and to open it up for any questions they have for those that drive in. Okay, that's one. The Heartland Hams on State Line Road, the major food pantry for the Memphis Mid-South area. Same thing there. You've got those that are coming in that need food and they're picking up food. Well, jobs also, because we also offer this to our companies to also set up a tent there. And flyers also for those patrons that do come that area. Dream Centers, Trinity Health Center, they have actually 2 food drives at 2 separate schools here in DeSoto County each week. Our companies are now invited to go by there and give flyers out. So again, we're just trying to tap into as many people as we can to help fill some of these slots. And this is important. As a parent, I'm going to share with y'all just a quick testimony, and I think I've done this before. I was convinced because I was blessed with a 4-year college degree that my youngest son would also have one. Because I mean, that's just the way we think as parents. I mean, 4 years, I mean, 4-year college degree, I mean, that's just what you do. Well, I gave him 1 year and brought him home pretty quickly at the end of that year. And we had to have a readjustment session. Now the funny or sad part about this is my wife in the background, she's very sweet, very, very discreet. She was not going to tell me, I told you so. But she knew this young man. And she knew you're making a mistake here, but she never said that. And she still is to this day hadn't said, I told you so. But if I had listened to her, he probably would have been at Northwest Community College, picking up an associate's degree in one of the technical schools. That's what he ended up doing. He interned at Future Electronics, met German engineers there, and he's been in Germany now for over 4 years. He comes back in October. Now, he still does not have a 4-year college degree, but he has a technical skill that is in high demand for these companies. They really aren't interested if he majored in journalism or if he majored in marketing or general business. What they want to know is, can you work with your hands? Do you understand software? Do you understand robotics? These programs are being offered now at the 11th grade level. And if we as parents and grandparents don't get the word out, we're missing opportunities. I think we're diminishing the fact that we used to call it shop.
Right.
Okay, does that age? That age is me. And we sort of stayed away from shop because it was just for those that just weren't going to excel. And forgive me when I say that, I'm just being very honest. Because we're all going to college. That's where I should have been. I tell you that. But that's another story. But knowing that we have got to raise the awareness level and the prestige and esteem level for students to understand that this is where the jobs are in the economy. I'm going to get off my soapbox here just a minute. This is critical. Getting the word out, and we've got to do a better job of getting it out to our parents. The schools did it because they've set up Career Tech Center West, they are in Horn Lake, and now Career Tech Center East. And the school board recognizes the importance of this to the point that they know that the East Campus, they're out of room there. So we're looking for ways to maybe relocate that and expand to a much greater degree to be able to bring in more high school students. They learn robotics, they learn healthcare initiatives, they learn supply chain logistics, they learn industrial maintenance, they learn welding. And again, this is not the jobs of the past. These are jobs that are in highly technical fields, medical related companies. And they're excellent jobs with excellent pay for students. And you know, at the end of the day, after 2 years, you come out of school with hardly any debt, if you have any debt at all. And to me, it's just a win-win. So we're promoting the high schools. I got off a little subject a little bit, promoting the high schools. We're also promoting Northwest Community College because obviously they train for these skills every day of the week and have been for 25 or 30 years. This is important too, from a parent standpoint. In the 8th grade, you may or may not be aware that students need to begin to choose a path. Can you imagine being an 8th grader choosing a path for your life? I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing my senior year in college. So, but that's you know, they're being asked to to choose a path. Now, it's not hard and fast. I mean, if you choose something more technical or college related, it's not that they're going to hold you to it. We want to show them opportunities. So we weren't able to do this last year, but for 2 years before that, we rented out the entire Coliseum floor at the Landry Center and showcased everything from Baptist and Methodist hospitals to all of our industry, to business and finance, to real estate, to all the functions and parts of the economy, to all of the 8th grade students in Desoto County. We bused them in. That's close to 3,500. We also picked up Tunica, Tate, and Panola 8th grade students, brought them to the Landry Center. They had a full day of interactive opportunities to see exactly what industry is all about. Now, if that just sparked some interest in a few of them, we were successful. It sparked some interest in a lot of them. We were immensely successful. But it's just informing our students and informing our parents. This year, we will host this again in October. It will be one day for the 8th graders. The second day will be for the 11th and 12th graders. These employers that are on the floor almost see that as a job fair. So they see that as an opportunity to also begin to gather some resumes. So again, that's just a way we think to increase the pool of talent here in Desoto County. And then we're pleased to report that hopefully by this summer, we should have a one-stop shop workforce center constructed at Northwest Community College, Desoto Center in South Haven. This will be where somebody who is looking for a job will go into the Win Job Center. If they lack skills, they will be trained there. Even if they need a GED, they will receive a GED here, and it's all in one space. And that's so important, particularly with transportation challenges for so many people.
What is the ACT Work Keys training? What is that?
That is employed within the high schools now. That it's the ACT that we all knew obviously was more academic related. ACT work keys is more for the technical skills.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, a company might look for a gold certification. That means that particular individual has these particular skills, or they may only be needing a silver or a bronze. And that's how all that ties in. So it's really more technical. So,
Where is that center open?
construction should begin this summer. Now, completion date, I'm not really sure. It's going to be about 50,000 square feet. It's going to be a first for Desoto County.
And there's also 5 different tracks for graduates, high school graduates. You got the general diploma, the technical, the voc, the 5-star. So they're, they have mentored it now to students that are on that vocational track to get that type of diploma.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We just, I'm aware of that. I just think though, we as parents, it's sort of a paradigm shift for us too, and guidance counselors.
Yeah.
Because for years, are you a guidance counselor?
17 years before I started this.
But, okay, before I really step into that, let me step back out of this real quick. I do think though, informing, educating guidance counselors on these opportunities is important.
Yeah.
Because traditionally it has been more of a college directed type.
Yeah. And I worked in Marshall County as a guidance counselor in 2 different schools, and I actually started my students in the 7th grade with the career exploration. Yeah.
Well, we can think about all of us. Several of the programs that we're working with right now, infrastructure planning. Let me see if I can pull this up to you. This is really fascinating. Right here on Highway 51, between Church Road and Green Tea and Hernando, 3,500 industrial jobs in that 5-mile study area. $121 million in annual payroll. 8 million square feet proposed, and then 3 million square feet of newly constructed industrial space. Now, why is this important to show or to make the case? 51 is only 2 lanes, y'all. We've got to have it wide.
I was waiting for you to touch on it.
We've got to widen 51. So we really have to think big, and fortunately for us, we've got now a transportation commissioner from Desoto County, John Caldwell. We need to make hay while the sun shines.
Give me
And
John's
so-
number.
But what our organization is doing is, again, you see us recruiting, encouraging expansions. You see us working on the education side, the workforce side, but we've also got to work on the infrastructure side, because that is pressure on the Highway 51. We haven't even included the land center in this. Now, what we hope this will do, let me see if I've got another slide. Don't know if you can read this. This gives you some ideas of where some of the other components are. A new agri center, a new National Guard armory at Starland Road. So not only do we need to get Highway 51 widened, but we've got to get a Starland Road interchange in also. And that would make a huge, huge difference to the area. But our organization is, in a sense, making the case, establishing the case for this to occur for our elected officials locally and in Jackson and in Washington. And Senator Blackwell has been so helpful in helping us to determine really what our priority needs are. And so this is important. Now, for those of you in the Olive Branch area, we believe Highway 305 is important too. It should be wide, all the way from I-269 all the way up to I-22. And we wanted to show that just in that corridor, 2,000 industrial jobs. We've got a new middle school being constructed, a gravel pit, and then residential, 2,500 residents. So again, this is the way in which we really plan and build for the future, because we don't want to wake up 10 years down the road and have such a constricted infrastructure environment that we lose sight, and it impacts then really what you do and what we do. That's the reason why the county determined about 15 years ago to put sewer throughout all of DeSoto County. Because if they had not done that, I can tell you that growth would have been just stymied without that piece of infrastructure. Okay. This is important. Okay, let me rewind. Am I doing okay? This, I get really excited about all this. Potential industrial sites. Remember I said that we've got 9 million square feet under construction? Okay, you could sit back and rest on that, and 5 years down the road, wake up and recognize that we have no more product. Does that sound familiar, product? That we have no more product to market. We can't do that. We've got to look ahead. So we are looking at identifying potential industrial sites, several of these along the I-269 corridor for industrial use. Now, the difficulty in this, the challenge in this, is that they would have to be rezoned. So you've got to be very careful about, I see Jeanette Hollowell, she knows about rezoning issues. You've got to be very careful about how residents respond, and to make sure that these areas are compatible, obviously, with residential subdivisions. But yet, we also have to be responsible as stewards of this economy to recognize that if not for the industry that we've just been highlighting, every one of your homes here in DeSoto County would have higher property taxes. It is because of these big boxes and these capital investments that are being made. That's the reason why there has not been a property tax increase in 16 years. So that's important to remember. Even when we give incentives to these companies, they're still paying higher taxes. than any of us combined could have. That's why it's important to look ahead, to recognize that we've got product on the ground, but we've got to plan for the future. This is just an idea, a concept, but we're going to be marketing this to the various individual cities and county as we talk about the need to expand industrial properties.
How far out is that? 5 years, did you say?
I think that if we do not go ahead and address what I would say almost a running out of land scenario, that we could be out of this product in 5 years. And again, we just don't want to wake up 5 years without having put a proactive plan in place. And again, it's uncomfortable and it's difficult and it's a challenge for elected officials to have to make those decisions. But I believe there's a balance here. And that balance is achieved when you show them what the economic impact is, a cost benefit analysis, if you will. Here's the cost, but here are the benefits. How do these weigh out? And we provide those cost benefit analysis on projects such as AWG down south of us on 51. So I'll be glad to open it up for any questions that you may have.
I have lots, so we may have to talk later.
And
I guess I'm absolutely, elated to see the growth. With growth comes more people, probably more buyers, which means more crowding. So not just the streets that you kind of spoke on, and not saying you talked about those, but I'm also concerned with residential streets such as Church and Getwell. That's a hot mess. It's the best way I can explain that. And Goodman is
Commerce Street, Hernandez.
yes. And then schools. So as we grow, and some of our schools are already overcrowded. They've already built a new building to Desoto Central High. They have a 9th grade building. It's still crowded. So as the new subdivisions are being completed, I'm just like, wow, where are the children going to go? We only have a small number of schools. I may be talking to the wrong person. Maybe you can tell me who to go to, but has that been mentioned? Schools? Roads?
That's an excellent point. And we have just re-energized what's called the A.W. Bushelon Planning Institute. You have a planning director in each one of our cities and with the county. They used to meet 10 years ago as a body, as a corporate body, to talk about where are the schools going, where is retail going, where is industry going, so we can plan better, plan for infrastructure. Well, they're now meeting once a quarter at my office. We just began that about a month ago. We have included only A.W. Bushelon as an ad hoc member, the superintendent of education, because we don't need to wake up and a school be planted without looking at the strategic picture of how that's going to impact what you just said. So we aren't there, but I got to reassure you, there's a team that is going to be meeting together on a regular basis to address exactly that issue.
Okay.
Because sometimes we can plan in silos, and we should not in this county and cannot in this county. That's really been our strength, to be sort of a unified type of county. And so the 5 cities and the county meet now once a quarter in our office and talk about those exact issues.
Okay, because at one point we had a panel years ago, I don't know, where some of the mayors from the different, and that was great. And I don't know if that's something we could do again, or even just this, being able to hear what's up and coming.
And those are things that you wouldn't hear about. Those are meetings held in our office, but the impact of that is going to be pretty great, because also at our office, the Council of Governments meets once a month. The 5 mayors and the president of the board of supervisors, they meet and discuss those same issues. But their issues are a little bit more high level, where your planning directors drill down much deeper in those specific areas, such as retail development, schools. And from there, they communicate to the elected officials, which in turn becomes infrastructure.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
So there's a method to this madness.
Gotcha, sounds good.
How long have you been doing your job? I remember the day they hired you. I can't, but I don't remember what year.
Well, don't. About 30 34.
34.
Yes, ma'am.
I had one more.
Yes.
Listen, I don't want to take up all the time. but I just had one more, and I'm on the scholarship committee. And one of the things I've seen as a gap with the students is some students are well prepared for interviews, the business world, how to interview, how to speak. What's in it, so that when you said 8th grade, that hit home, because that's exactly what I was telling some of my other team members, were they need to start at 8th grade. Because some schools who aren't as in a greater position as others, I don't know a good way of saying that, they're not getting that information. So it's like they come in and they're already in a place where they're not ready to be in an interview type setting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is possibly incorporating some type of etiquette, business etiquette, how to do, what to do. 8th grade, as you said, prepare. When you get in high school, you're preparing for college, not that you have to go, as you said, I'm with you on that, but just prepping them for what they need to be doing when they get to high school. If that could be added to the CTC.
That actually should be done in the middle school.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Counselor.
saying.
The
And see,
school
that's the
counselor should
gap.
be
And
doing
I'm
that.
not talking about counselor, that's part of the gap.
But you brought up, I think, a really good cap. That's why these meetings are so important. I mean, we feed off of these ideas, and then we put hopefully flesh on those bones.
Good.
Northwest Community College does that. They do that
They do have
all the way down in all their programs. But by that time, it might be even a little late. And
Well,
it's
this
never
is at a
too
college
late.
level you're
But we
speaking? Oh,
need
yeah.
to get into the
We need to
school
get into
system,
the-
and we are gonna be meeting with guidance counselors. We'll check and see if it, look, y'all, I think we as residents here and community citizens, we should mentor. We should maybe do a better job of mentoring. So I think there's some real, I appreciate you saying that, because I agree with you. And because I will tell you, the work ethic, the way in which they show up for interviews, it just stinks.
Yes.
It just does. And I'm sorry to say that, but all these companies want is someone that will show up the next day and the next week. They'll train them. They'll
Right.
train them all day long, but it's the work ethic a lot of times. And that goes back a lot of times to that, to prepare them.
Preparing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's a good idea.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Amazon gift card.
Oh, great.
We all love Amazon.
Right.
Okay, next on our agenda, I need 2 nominations from the floor on volunteers to serve for the nominating committee. Brenda,
I'd like to nominate Sandy Lane.
okay, Phil,
I'd like to nominate Candace Soul.
okay, I've got 2 nominations on the floor, one for Sandy Lane and one for Candace Sullivan. So can I get a motion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, welcome. Okay, last thing on our agenda is, this is like way too small for me. Is announcements, and I'm just really excited to see everyone in a room. It's been way too long, and I just think it's awesome that we can all be here together. There's some on Zoom, I think, correct? So we are happy to have you guys too. But I just want to, Amanda's got me some little notes here. We've all been crazy busy. Obviously, we all know that the inventory is, I don't know, so low, I don't even know. There's like 10 houses for sale. And so we're all running around crazy, seeing each other at houses because we're all lined up down the street. But we just ask everyone to, be professional. I know, we all know it's crazy, and but just be mindful of your other fellow realtors who are doing the same job you are, and just try to be professional and fair in these times. But we are offering a lot of education opportunities. Last week we had the free CE, and so we've got other stuff going on and events, and hopefully we're gonna have more in-person things. But you see on your agenda, there's some upcoming events. Realtor Night at Tyler's Closet is a program that gives basic items to foster kids. And that is tonight
And Uncle Bubba's.
at Uncle Bubba's. Where's that? Fernando, Uncle Bubba's. And then we have the annual partnership golf tournament with the Home Builders Association. There are some openings in the morning flight, and there's a contract class coming in May with Ryan Byrne. So I just want to say, I'm just so excited to see everybody, and thank you so much for coming, and I am going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.